I think that sounds better and better every time. Hi, I'm Ray Mancini. Welcome to another round. Oh, okay. I didn't know when I'm supposed to jump in.
Oh, we're on?
I mean, they start the opening. The opening's pretty good. I like that opening, but you threw me off with it. You threw me off.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to another round of Ray's Boom Boom Room. I'm your host Ray Mancini, with my ace corner man, cut man, Mike Case. Don't do the wave. Don't do the wave.
I'll just do
Cordell,
this.
he does this wave. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's classy, Chordale. You should do that at your fight.
Anyhow, Amir, we have a very special guest on with us today, all the way from Stamford, Connecticut. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this young man. I did a fight of his, I believe it was at the end of May. We were in Biloxi, Mississippi, at the Beau Rouge.
Wow,
Beau
that
Rouge
sounds good.
Hotel. But the fight was at the convention center, I believe. And this young man, who's from Stamford, Connecticut, came out and put a boxing clinic and beat Wale Omotoso from Nigeria, who's was a top contender. Now, why that name is so significant, Mike, is Wale Omotoso just knocked out Curtis Stevens from Brooklyn, New York, and on the last weekend's fight with Adam Kovnowski, Chris Ariola,
Yeah.
that was one of the 3 fights shown on TV, on Fox, and Wale Omotoso knocked him down 4 or 5 times, 6 times, and come away with the victory. Well, the gentleman I'm going to introduce you to now, Chordale beat
Booker.
Wale Omotoso.
Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about our guest, Chordale Booker. Chordale is a professional fighter who's 15-0 from Stamford, Connecticut. But the reason we have him on today is not only is he's an up-and-coming fighter that you'll be hearing big things about in the future, and you'll be seeing him on Fox Sports 1, but on Fox regular channel because he'll be moved up because he's a exciting fighter. Is that because Chordale's story, and this show we try to tell stories of human interest stories, inspirational stories. But Chordale is one of these people. I remember when we were doing it at the fighters meetings down in Mississippi, we met Chordale, charming young man, bright, very friendly, and very well spoken. But he told us the story of how he got in trouble with the law when he was 18 years old, and the judge, instead of putting him away, gave him an opportunity to change his life. And he's done that. And now he's paid it forward, and he's an inspiration, and he speaks to people, and he helps out to other organizations. He'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
But I was so captivated by him that when they said the opportunity to get him on our show, I said, we got to do it.
Well, Chordale, welcome. Welcome to
Yes.
the Ray's
so
Boom
everyone,
Boom Room.
Chordale Booker, up-and-coming future champ.
Yeah. All right, take us back.
Appreciate that.
Let's not talk about boxing at this time. Let's go back to when you were 17, 18 years old. Give us the rundown. What happened?
When I was 18 years old, I was getting into trouble. I was selling drugs. Me, my family, my friends, around my age, that's what we were doing to provide for ourselves. Because for me, I wanted to eat every day. I wanted nice clothes. I wanted to have the best sneakers. So that's what I was doing it for. At the time, I didn't really think about the future. I was just thinking about what I wanted now, because I wanted to have that to impress people when I went to school. So I never had, I don't know, I felt like I was invincible at that time. You young, you never really got into serious trouble. Like, I got arrested when I was young, and when I was 12, and then it was kind of like a slap on the wrist. Didn't really seem like anything was going to change in my life, so I continued to do what I was doing. And then when I was 18, it was different. I got charged as an adult, and when I went to court, my minimum sentence was 13 years. That was like my mandatory. So that was when it hit me, like, oh, all right, this real now. You know, it's not like when I got arrested all before when I was under 18. And I remember turning around, seeing my mom crying, and that was something that killed me. You know, my mom, my grandmother, seeing them hurt like that, and that was the time I decided like I was really going to try to make a change. Uh, then I kind of wanted to change. I didn't really fully want to change yet, so I still kept going outside. I was telling my friends, you know, nah, I'm gonna stop, but I still kept doing it because I was like that was my lifestyle now. Then I got arrested again, like 2 months later, right after that, and that was it for me. Like that was it. That was when I decided. I told my friends the next day when I got out. I told them like, yo, I'm done. Y'all not gonna see me outside no more. If you want to see me, you gotta come to my house. Just come see me. I'm not gonna be outside just selling drugs, standing on the block, doing nothing with my life. Um, Cause I just knew I had more. I knew God had more in store for me.
What happened when you were 12? Your mom or your grandma didn't kick you in the ass back then and try to make you
Not
change?
listen, my grandma, man, she undefeated.
Oh,
She
they
the
all
real.
are.
Listen, man. When I got arrested when I was 12, my grandma hit me with some of the swiftest float like a butterfly hands.
Oh, hey,
So
Cordell, I have a lot of friends of mine that are the brothers. Black grandmother and black mothers whip your ass. There ain't no timeout.
Yeah.
They whip your ass. That's it.
that's the truth.
Oh man, and they throw things. See, my mother liked to throw things too, so I understand. I got dodging me. My mom used to be on. She used to whip. My mom used to be a Tupperware dealer. She'd be throwing Tupperware bowls at us and everything. And that's hard plastic. You hit in the head with that. Oh man, that's not,
We
so
had
I
the-
understand that stuff.
Yeah.
We had the
But,
wooden spoon. You didn't have the wooden spoon
and you
at
know
your
what?
house?
I mean, I tell you, there's a lot more because you need your ass whipped too, because they.
That's the truth.
Oh,
But
you
you
ain't
know,
lying.
times change.
Oh, absolutely.
Times change. So now when you beat your kid as discipline, it's seen as like abuse. You know, but my grandma, she used to discipline me for real. You know, that was real hard. It was the hard lessons, but you
Well,
gotta learn them.
why didn't that work?
Uh, I'm not gonna say it didn't work. It did stop. It stopped me from things that I some stuff I wouldn't do. But if it meant like I don't know some stuff you just like well, I think I could get away with it
Right.
and you just try it
Well,
and I got away with it a lot. So up until I was 18, and then that was it for me.
Cordell, and plus the seduction of money, money in your pocket, man. There's nothing more high, no greater high when you're 18 and then you got cash money.
Right.
And I mean
Yep.
that's the draw for a lot of people. I know guys for years, that've been banging on the streets because they said, man, and even wise guys who get out of jail, they say, I'd take another chance. I'd take it 10 year, 10 years, I could do that, stand on my head. I'd take another chance
Yeah.
to make a quick score. And I'm thinking, you just got out after 10 years and you go right back to make some, because it's all about for them, the juice for them is what's the word I'm trying to think? It's the attempt. That's all about the challenge. The challenge is the juice for them.
Yeah.
I never understood
Yeah.
that. You know,
It feels like freedom for them. They can do what they want, and money attracts things. So they fall in love with that, and that's where I was at that time. But not anymore.
How much money could you make?
Back then,
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't even know because I literally made the money and spent the money. Like there was never anything. The only thing I ever saved up for was a car. So I used to make the money and go to the store, spend it on sneakers the same day, or spend it on clothes so I could go to school and have a new pair of shoes, a new pair of t-shirt every single day. So it was like I didn't do anything productive with it other than get a car, but I wasn't trying to do anything productive with that. So
And nobody in your family was noticing all these new things and didn't try to sit you down, or any role models at all?
I told him I had a job. That's what I would tell
Ah,
everybody. Yeah, I got a job.
you did.
I told him I had a job. I told everybody I had a job, and I work all the time.
What kind of drugs, and did you ever take the drugs?
Nah, I only sold weed. I sold weed. I sold pills for a little while, but that wasn't really my thing. I
Right.
really just sold weed
You know,
at the time when like weed now is like it's totally
it's
different.
recreational. It's
Yeah,
recreational
I know.
and medicinal.
It's like
We
eating
know, man.
vegetables.
yeah,
Medicinal. You know, I remember.
it's the worst
You know, when I
because
was.
I got a narcotics charge
Oh,
for selling weed. So you
oh.
think about that, like I could have been sitting in jail. You know, I had the felony because of the narcotics charges. You know, with the intent to sell, but it's just because that's what weed was at the time.
Right, right, right. Well, you know, you see now they've changed it. You know, when I was a kid, they'd say if you do start with the weed, and I got to tell you, I never did it. I never did. The reason I'm saying that, everybody in my neighborhood did it. My brother did. My brother used to grow in the house. You know, my parents didn't know what the hell it was. They did, but my brother used to grow in that. But I was like, you know, I was an athlete. You know, you'll say you take care of your body takes care of you. So I didn't do it not because I was the sports and I stayed away from it. I never tried it, but like I said, everybody in my block, everybody, all my best friends would buying it, selling it. So it was no big deal. It wasn't my thing, you know what I mean? But they used to say if you chew weed, it leads to other addictions, leads to other addictive stuff, stronger stuff. And now we find that's all bullshit. It don't lead to nothing.
Right.
It don't lead to nothing. It's a thing. It's actually it's a medicinal thing, and it don't. And now they're selling it legal in most states.
Right.
So I mean, it's some of these guys, like you said, you were facing. You say 12 years, almost 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
13.
a lot of guys got hit with some big long sentences, especially like in the South. Guys were getting raided over the coals for selling weed nickel bags for years, and they got it, and they're trying to they're trying to go in now and get these guys out because all was just weed, and they put them away for 15, 20 years.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What's jail like when you're that young?
To be honest, 18. I don't really know because I was only there for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get to experience it like that. But I just know from the few hours when I was a few hours in, I already told myself I ain't cut out for this.
Well,
This ain't it for me.
Because why?
Like, first off, you gotta wait. You gotta wait to eat. Like when they tell you, the whole thing is like somebody telling me what I have to do was enough for
yeah.
me to be like, nah, I can't do this. Then just knowing that like I'm gonna be in here and everyone I love, I won't be able to see them, won't be able to call them, touch them, be in contact. Like that was bothering me, you know. Like I really I'm a family guy. Like I really care about my family. I like to see them every week. Um, I take my little cousins out, to get ice cream. I like that's what I do. And so just knowing that I couldn't do those things anymore was that hurt my heart.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look, I've told you when I met you, I was very captivated by your story. I remember when you were telling us at the fighter meeting, and I was really, it really spoke to about the person you've become. Because I always tell people, it's not the past is the past, and one thing we learned, we gotta leave it in the past, and it's about
Right.
today and what you do forward. Now let me tell you. So, what did the judge tell you? What was the options he gave you?
He so I well first I was trying to get a AR, which is like when you accelerated rehabilitation where you can like do some things in the community, programs, stuff like that. But the charges I had two gun charges, so they wouldn't accept it. They felt like I was a problem in the community. But so many people in the community wrote letters to the judge about me, so they couldn't use the AR, but they wanted to give me a second chance. But then I had got arrested again 2 months later.
Yeah, you
So
said that,
now,
right?
now I look like a problem.
Right, right.
And so now I wrote my own letter and was just telling them like this. The reason I got arrested was I just tried to be outside with my friends. These are the only friends I have. I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
With the
But
wrong
now that
people.
I understand this, yeah, and now that I understand this, it won't happen again. Um, and I gave it to my lawyer. My lawyer said that he would make sure the judge got it. And I really don't know if the judge ever got it, but I guess he did. But um, that was, and then when I went to court, I thought I was going to jail. I for sure was like telling my family my goodbyes and stuff like that, because it was a year process of me fighting this case. And the day I went in to court for the verdict, two people went to jail right before me.
Oh,
And the guy who was right before me, he went to jail just because he missed like 2 or 3 dates from his drug program that he was supposed to be attending. So I just assumed that I was going to jail. And when I went up there, he gave me a 3 year probation, and I had a lot of stipulations, but it didn't matter to me because I knew I had a second chance, and I wasn't gonna mess that up. So I
you know,
celebrated that.
Cordell, I've heard people say, I've guys I've talked to, and they say, you think you can handle it, you think you're mentally strong, and once you get in there, and it's weird, they say once you hear that door clank, that steel door clank behind you, it's a whole different feeling now. Did you get a sense of that when that happened to you? When they shut that gate, the door to the whatever to the cell, they said, man, it changes your whole being.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing how you gotta live, like you have this steel cot, a toilet,
Well, that's what I was
and
gonna say. You
it's
just
just
you just said it. You know what people think? You always see that in the movies and stuff. But I'm telling you, that would be the weirdest thing. When you got to be going to the bathroom in front of everybody and anybody that's walking by.
That's right.
That ain't
yeah.
that will make a man go, oh, oh. That would be definitely different, man.
Do you have a
Yeah,
window?
people don't think about that. No, you can't see outside. You can't see the light. Um, where I was, you couldn't see the light. You don't know what time it is. And things like that make you. It kind of make you feel like you're going crazy. You're just there. So
So you never know what time it
it's
is?
going.
Like you don't have a watch or anything?
No, there's no
No,
clue.
you
No clue.
they take everything from you. You can't have anything. Any of your belongings you don't get back until you leave. So you're just around.
So now let's step forward. You got the opportunity. He's giving you probation. When made you get into the fight game? How did you become a fighter, or what intrigued you and turned you on to that?
Yeah. And what age?
So when I was in 6th grade or 7th grade, I started getting my mind was into boxing because I was getting into fights my whole life, but I always was interested in boxing. I used to play like Fight Night, Mike Tyson Punch Out,
I was gonna say, you have a favorite
stuff like
fighter? Do
that.
you have a favorite
You
fighter?
know, back like when I first got into like thinking about boxing, Pernell Whitaker
Sweet
is what like I
Pete.
saw, and
Yeah, Sweet
I
Pete,
thought that
man.
was like what he did was amazing.
Oh, he was.
Um,
Well, he was. He was special, man. Now he's a southpaw like you, but he could do things, man. You just look at it and you go, no. See, he did things that were so natural for him. But if you're gonna go teach a
right.
guy how to fight, you don't teach any of that stuff. Like
Yeah, you can't.
everything exactly. You can't. Everything he did was wrong, technically, but it worked for him.
Right.
It worked for him.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like him and Muhammad Ali. They just
Uh,
you can't really teach somebody to
no,
beat them.
no,
They just
no.
are who they are. Uh, but yeah, that was the age I started thinking about boxing. But we didn't have any boxing gyms in my area at that time, so I can tell you playing basketball. And then I kept telling myself my 12th grade year in high school that after I'm done with basketball, I'm gonna start boxing. But then I kept selling drugs, kept staying on the street. Finally, when I got arrested and I wanted to be away from my friends and I needed something to indulge myself in and put my time into, like I had been doing with basketball, I knew boxing would be that for me because the funny thing is when I was in school and I had to fight somebody, for me it was like a challenge. It wasn't. I didn't think about it like how people consumed were like, yo, I gotta fight this guy after school. I used to be like, all right, I gotta think about how I'm gonna beat this guy up so everybody knows I'm the best fighter in school. And that. I swear, I used to tell my friends, yo, I'm going to box after I'm going to box. And once I got arrested, I said, man, I'm jumping right into it. I got into it. I told my coach, I said, I want to take this serious. I really want to do this. He said, man, I heard it 1,000 times. 1,000 kids just like you came to the gym. You got to prove it to me. Nobody's ever stayed consistent with it. And I was like, I'm going to be the first one. Man, here we are. We still here today. And he still remembers those days where he used to tell me, I don't think you're going to continue. But it's just something I love. It's something that I can't even explain. You know, that one-on-one trying to figure somebody out. It's an art to it. It's not just,
absolutely.
It's a fight.
Absolutely.
Do you think that? Do you think if it was 10 years later, you would have still loved boxing, or would it have been more MMA stuff for you?
10 years, like if I did it.
Like now, like say you were 10th grade now, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's all over the.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think personal, just for my personal preference, I still would have been a boxer.
Okay.
Because I tried kickboxing when I was in 9th grade. And the whole thing about kicking just wasn't my thing. I felt like, you know, I don't know. I like the hand-to-hand combat. Not to take anything away from kickboxing or MMA. It was just my personal preference. I like punching people. Like the satisfaction that I got from that was great.
And you know, I now, have you tried to pattern your style after anybody? Have you tried to pattern your work? I mean, not your work ethic. I mean, like I said, your style of boxing. Is anybody?
Yeah. I always watch. I watch a lot of different lefties. To be honest.
I was gonna say Pete. You just said Pete Whitaker, Pernell Whitaker. You can't get no better than him.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Sweepy, Marvin Hagler.
Marvelous one. Marvin was. You reminded me a little bit of Marvin when you fought style-wise. Now Marvin was a good friend of mine. Marvin was a good friend of mine, and I used to love him, man. You know, you ain't gonna get no better. He's one of the top 5 for me, top 5 middleweights of all time. You know, certainly top 10, but certainly top 5. But his work ethic, and you know, he just wake up and people don't understand. You know, rolling shoulders. You couldn't get a steady beat on him. You could not get a clean shot on him because it was subtle things. The way he rolled his shoulders, slide side, moved his head, and you know he was great. So that's a great guy to pattern yourself after.
Yeah, I love watching Marvin work because his determination is one of the things that I feel like I have. You know, I'm determined to win the fight whichever way I have to. And I, just like you said, the rhythm that he fought at, he always kept people off balance.
Always, that's right.
When you watch, you mentioned you watched the fights a couple of weeks ago, and you watch on Fox. When you watch fights, do you watch and try to pick out stuff, technique things on what they're doing, or you just kind of watch for entertainment, or both?
Oh, it depends. Both, but it also depends on the fight too, the fighter that they have in front of them, or the if it's a lefty versus a righty, I can see what the righty's doing to the lefty and still use it to my advantage because, you know, I can just do it from my angle, my side as a southpaw.
You know what not to do. You know what not to do. Right,
exactly. And so, and sometimes it's just entertainment. Like if anybody at 147, 154, or 160 is fighting, I'm watching it like as a potential fight.
Right.
Because it can happen, you know. Right. 47 is really close to 54, and 54 is really close to 60. So anytime it's in that range, I'm watching it, trying to look at weaknesses this person may have, and also take away something good that they're doing that I could add to my game.
Now, Cordell, do they have the next fight scheduled yet? Do you know when you're going again?
No, I don't know when I'm going yet, but I'm ready to go
What's I say?
at
You're
any time.
staying in the gym, getting ready, stay ready. That's the thing. You got to be ready to go at all times.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm only about 12 pounds over my weight right now, so it wouldn't even
No,
be
no,
anything hard to get
no.
down.
Right,
Me
that'll
too.
come.
Me too.
Yeah,
Just 12 times 2, 3 actually.
But
Hey, I was looking at your amateur record. It seemed like an awful lot of. Did you see the amateur record?
No.
It's like what? Tell them what is it? Like 110 and what is it?
Yeah, it was like I had like 100. I want to say like I was like 120 around that range.
Seems like a lot of amateur
Like
fights.
20 losses, 19 losses. Yeah, the thing was, I was so late to the game. You know, I didn't start fighting until I was almost 19. I fought 1 month before my 19th birthday. So for me, when I lost my first fight. When I lost the fight, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, man. I was down. Like I couldn't think like, yo, how did I lose? Like I trained so hard, I couldn't believe I lost. And I just realized it was an experience thing because my coach kept saying the guy you fought, he had 5 fights. You gotta understand he knows what it feels like to be in here, even though it's not that much. So I said, okay, if the experience is what is gonna make me better, then let's go fight everywhere. So my coach like, yeah, I don't think you're gonna want to do that. And I'm like, nah, that's what I want to do. So that's in 5 years I had that many fights, or 6 years. I had that many fights because I was going to every tournament. And then it got to a point when I finally started winning the tournaments that I would just enter them again because I didn't want anybody else in my weight class to say that they won because I didn't, like say they won at my weight class. I felt like I owned it.
No.
Especially in New York.
So you're fighting that many times. You're a road warrior. You're on the road a lot.
Like 25 times a year.
Yeah.
You're fighting.
When amateurs, you could do that.
Yeah.
National tournament, like when we went to nationals, you fight twice in one day, then you fight once and you fight twice again, and then you go for the championship. I mean, it's
just
in a
how it
matter of
works.
4 or 5 days. You can fight 5 to 6 times.
What's it like making the Olympic team?
I didn't make the Olympic team. I made the national team.
Oh, the national team. Sorry.
I made the national team, but I made it to the Olympic trials, and I got a bronze in the Olympic trials. Both were extremely incredible times that even though I didn't win,
Who went
and go to the Olympics.
Who went to Olympic?
Charles Conwell.
Okay.
What were you then?
And 160.
Okay.
165. That was the middleweight limit. But I was really 160 though. I was fighting that. I was fighting 165, but I weighed 160 because cutting the weight in the amateurs was tough for me.
It's difficult, very difficult, and it shouldn't be. When you're growing, your body's growing. You don't want to keep trying to cut down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It was taken away from my performance. So I moved up to 165, and I felt better, and that's when I did actually even better, because I was cutting down to 52 all the time. Moved to 165. I won the nationals. Then I fought for the country in Puerto Rico, fought against Canada, won both of those. Went to the Olympic trials, and I came up short, which people argue all the time that I beat Charles Conwell too. We'll see what happens in the pros too, because we could get that back. We both coming up right now.
That's the way.
Oh, beautiful. That's what you want. If you can get it back, get it back. That's right.
What? Go ahead.
Yeah.
No. I was just gonna say, I was wondering, since you don't know when your next fight is, I'd like to see you fight. Now, are you signed to the BBC or did they just put you on the card?
No, I'm signed to PBC.
Beautiful.
Al Heyman has been getting me these big fights, so
yeah.
I'm grateful for that and grateful for him.
Look, Al's doing a hell of a job. What we got going on with Fox is a hell of a for next 4 years. And I've said this, the only way the fighters will get the same popularity that we once had when I was fighting in the 80s as part of that whole group is with network television. Without network television, you'll never have the same popularity. Well, now we do. And I tell people the deal with El Heyman is, man, what he's doing with boxing is tremendous right now. It's
Yeah.
we control the welterweight division. We control the from welterweight to middleweight. We control everything. We control the heavyweights. I mean,
super middleweight.
super middleweight. That's right. Super middleweights. That's right. So, I mean, that's a big fight coming up in a couple of weeks. No, they just when Durrell and Benavidez.
Yeah, yeah, that's going.
Oh, man, great fight. There's no love lost there. No love lost there.
Yeah, that's.
And they announced the pay-per-view, the third pay-per-view fight, which will be September 28th. Errol Spence versus Sean Porter. Now, Errol Spence is somebody that could be easily move up a weight class. Also, he's a big 47-pounder. He could fight 54 and 6. I think he should be fighting 54 because I think I don't see how he makes 47, but he's been doing it.
Yeah.
And
I've been saying the same thing.
And I think he'll eventually go to middleweight. And I've said I'd love to see him and Canelo. People say, "Oh, he'll beat Canelo, beat him." But I said, Errol Spence can fight, but he's got a lot of guys like you to get through first. Don't get me wrong, but they're talking about him moving up to middleweight, bypassing 54 because he's a big, 47. He's fighting 47, Mike, but he's a big guy, and Errol's as nice as they come, good guy. But they're talking about him go bypassing 54 and go right into middleweight. And I'd love to see him and Canelo. I think he beat Canelo. I do.
Me too.
People think, oh, you're crazy. Canelo's got all these. Canelo's a good, hell of a fighter. Canelo is a terrific champion. He beat Danny Jacobs like he owned him. But Danny Jacobs didn't throw no punches. He got to throw punches.
He's not Errol Spence. He's not Errol Spence talent either.
Errol Spence can fight. And coming from a southpaw position, he knows how to use that. Now, people say, he didn't even knock out Mikey Garcia. I said, there's a difference. Mikey Garcia was trying to... Mikey moved up. He challenged greatness. He found out in the first 2 rounds he wasn't going to get close to him. So Mikey was in survival mode most of that fight. And if a guy don't want
he wasn't trying to win.
No, wasn't trying to win. He's just trying not to get knocked out.
Right.
So
Hey, can I ask you about knockouts real quick?
Yeah.
I look at your record, 15-0. I see 7 knockouts. Usually when you see a young guy, and please don't think I'm picking you apart or anything like that. But usually you see a young guy, you see 14-0, 13 knockouts. So why haven't there been more knockouts for you? Is that a legitimate question?
Yeah.
No, that is a legitimate question. It's actually a great question, honestly. For me, why I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not the biggest puncher.
But you know that. And that's good that you know that and you use your skill set.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest puncher, but I can. You can ask all 15 people; they ain't gonna just stand there and take the punches. So it's enough to keep them off me and make them aware of like they can't get hit with too much. Most of my knockouts come by surprise. The shot they don't see.
That's right.
I got to catch them off guard, or I got to catch them with an accumulation of punches. Because I'm not the Tyson, Golovkin, Charlo, Spence type of puncher. I'm not that. But I know that with my skill set and how I attack the fight game, that I could be in there with those type of guys. Like, look at Omotoso. Look, he just knocked out Curtis Stevens, knocked him down 3 times. But he didn't do that to me because he still has to land that shot on me, you know?
Right.
So, I can still compete with those guys.
But can you or would you like to change that to go to more of a powerful style? Because you don't want to go 10 rounds if you don't have to, right? Like you said, you can be hit with the surprise and be out. To me, it seems like let's end this as fast as we possibly can. Maybe I can do something to change myself to get it done a little bit faster. Is that a silly thought?
Yeah. No, that's not silly. That's legitimate thought. I mean, we don't get paid for overtime, so you want to get it over as fast as you can. You want to get it over as fast as you can, but I know realistically, like if I went into the fight the way Curtis went into the fight with Omotoso, I don't punch as hard as Curtis or Omotoso. So if I attack the fight the same way these guys are trying to attack it, and I know I don't have the punching ability of them, then I'm kind of just playing into their favor and not into my own. Where I got to kind of surprise Omotoso to get the knockout. And he just has to land one shot or land a couple shots to get a person out of there because, he is a big puncher.
But I mean, yeah, that's the thing. You said it best. You use your skill set. If you're not gonna, a lot of guys he knows he's not a big puncher, but you get him with a volume of punches. Doesn't mean you're gonna get knockouts. You hit a guy a lot. It's like chipping away at a rock. Eventually, you keep chipping away, the rock's gonna fall. But that's that. But as long as you understand, and that's good that you said that. A lot of guys think they're bigger punchers than they are, and that's when you get yourself in trouble.
And you either are or you aren't.
Right.
You can't
No,
turn into
look,
a big puncher.
I believe you could. I believe you can. People say develop punching power. I believe it's a natural born. You're either a natural born puncher or you're not. Doesn't mean you
That's
can't.
how I feel.
Yeah,
You
you
agree?
can't. Doesn't mean you can't develop better power by turning on the ball of your foot, getting that hit behind it. Doesn't mean you can't learn to hit harder. But natural punching power, guys, you can whack, and you're knocking guys out like a Tommy Hearns and stuff like that. That's you're born with that. You're
Agree,
born with
Chordale?
that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I can punch more forcefully, but at the expense of having to be there longer, and to try to land that punch more forcefully and may or may not get this guy out of here because I'm not Golovkin or, the puncher like that. I just don't see the point until I get them more worn down, where I know I can start to sit on my punches and I don't have really much to worry about coming back at me. Cause it's just you ain't listen. If everybody could punch like Mike Tyson, boxing would be fun.
Yeah.
Are you proud you went those 10 rounds last time?
I actually wanted to stop him. I was like, I'm proud. I'm proud I won because I got the shutout. Yeah. Nobody on his
record,
none of his opponents have shut him out. So I was the first one to shut him out. That was an accomplishment for me. It's hard to shut somebody out in boxing. Usually one judge can sit there and find a round to give to the other guy, but no judge did, which means I did my job the way I was supposed to.
Can you go more rounds? Could you go to 12?
Well, you're going to have to. When you get a title shot, you're going to have to.
And that if a title shot is a 12-round
Yeah, 12 rounds,
right?
you're going to have to, yeah.
Yeah. Do you train? How long do you have to train to get up to 10, 12 rounds?
It's experience. Look, in the gym, you become a pro, and then you start sparring. But then you have to have fights. It's actual fights. So he's had a couple 10-round fights. Now, how many 10-round fights? Was that your first?
That was my first one.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but what I did this time in camp, because my first 8-rounder, I got tired. So my second 8-rounder actually ended, I think my second 8-rounder ended in the first round. So then I had another 8-rounder. But when I trained for those other ones, I trained for like a 12-rounder, right? And I would spar 12 rounds. I would make sure I had sparring partners that could make me go 12.
Right.
12 rounds, or I would have 2 or 3 different sparring partners. And then for the 10-round fight, I was doing like 14 rounds of sparring, doing things like that, days where I would just be in there. I had one day, no lie, I sparred 18 rounds, and my coach had to tell me, yo, get out the ring.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I got to be in shape for this 10. I was so consumed with like, yo, I can't get tired. This is my big debut on TV. I have to look great.
Yeah, but the old saying, you don't want to leave it in the gym, because that's
exactly
right. Because if you're going 10 rounds, don't need to be training for 12. Matter of fact, I used to, when I was going for 15 rounds, people say, how many rounds you spar? I said average between 5 or 6 a day. That's it. I said that's inclusive with the road work and the bag work, and then you pick it up to an 8-round day. Then you come back to 6, 7. Then we go a 10-round day, and eventually I do a gym fight. I go all 15 rounds. 10 days before the fight, we go all 15 rounds with 4 different sparring partners. And then once we get 12, the last 3 rounds, my trainer used to put each guy in a corner, and each come out fresh. For 1 minute at a time. For 1 minute.
Like
and
ninjas coming at you.
And he'd tell them, go take them out. So and I went 12 rounds, and these guys, a couple of rounds, go try to take them out. Man, and then once you go 15, once you get done, you know you're in shape. So now you got to maintain. People don't understand when you're getting ready for a fight, Mike. The idea of overtraining is not only trying to peak at the right time. Now you got to maintain it. 10 days out, I wasn't going to get in better shape. I was ready to go. So now you got to maintain it. So now you got to hold what you got. So you focus more on not reconditioning so much as speed and reflexes. So I still spar, but I'd go 3-4 rounds, and I always have 4 sparring partners. I was lightweight, but I always have a junior welterweight, sometimes a welterweight, a couple junior welterweight. But I have one guy who was a featherweight or a super bantamweight for speed. So you want that guy for speed. In the last 2 weeks, that's when he comes into play. You work for speed. So
have you guys do boxers of this day do the same thing, or what's your regimen like?
Yeah, that's pretty much how we work too. We try to get a guy. So like for the Omotoso fight, we had got a guy who was a real big puncher. We would spar him. We had two big punchers that we spar with. One that was my weight class, and one that was a big puncher at 147. And then we got a guy who was at 47 who was really fast, because we wanted to get the speed in the chess match from the speed guy, or we wanted the 2 big punchers to get my body used to
getting hit,
being hit, and having the resistance of blocking, because it's different when a guy can punch and you try to block a shot than it is from a guy who can't really punch.
Well, that's if you don't got a guy who knows can't punch, you try to walk him down or walk through him.
It's easier.
See, I didn't realize. But for you can punch. The fact you don't got a lot of knockouts is because you focus more on the boxing. I understand. But I tell people are gonna try to walk you down. They're gonna catch hell, because you could sting people. You stung Omotoso a few times. You didn't put him down, but you stung him a few times. Those are the worst type of guys to fight. You think you can't punch, but you can box real good. And they hit you, like you said, with the punches you don't see.
Yeah,
that's the big thing.
Has boxing and training in boxing, is it more technological now? Do you watch your sparring afterwards? Do you guys video it and things like that? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, I take my sparring, because for me, if I get to see it, if I get to see the mistakes and I get to see the things that I did right, like at the time when my coach was asking for something, then it sticks with me. I get to, like now when I'm in the ring and I see a pattern forming from my opponent or my sparring partner, I know the answer, because I have a visual in my mind about it, and I just try to keep it's almost like a database in my mind, like of just counters and slip moves and movements that I can do. It's like I kind of just know where I'm at in the ring.
Well, I gotta tell you, Chordale, I can't wait to see you fight again. I'm expecting big things from you, because you got a hell of a future in front of you. But you got to, I always tell people that what makes it attractive is your story, because there's a lot of good fighters that ain't got no story. You know what I mean? And a lot of people say, yeah, but when you meet somebody, when you see a fighter that's a hell of a fighter and he's got a good story, you want to follow him. Human interest side. I want to follow this guy. I want to see where his road takes him. And you got a hell of a story.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
I was impressed with you when I met you. I'm more impressed with you now. Like you said,
I appreciate that.
I remember when you were talking about you do a lot for the youth in your community. You do a lot with the
Yeah, it's a foundation.
So important. You have your own foundation, yes, as I do, and that's, to me, it was important. When I came back to Youngstown, the first thing I said I want to do was start my own foundation, because I've done a lot for other foundations and for others, but I wanted people to add for me, focus on 3 groups: children, the elderly, and the vets. The homelessness and vets.
Yeah.
Usually, most of the vets, the largest percentage of homelessness are ex-vets.
Yeah.
So, but that's what we focus on: is the elderly, the vets, homeless and children's groups. So, and that's what I want to do. And we've been doing successful the last 4 years, going on 5 years for my foundation. And it's important that you got one. It's important to see people, for people to see that you give them back to the community. And if they come to support you, if they come to push, support you. And I basically tell people, when you're a fighter and you, like my relationship with my city of Youngstown is kind of different than most. We come at an economic time with jobs, unemployment was 28%. Still, our steel mill was shut down. And we were in a bad, dire strait. And that was like the one thing they had to hold on to. And I'm very proud of the fact that these people supported me. And plus my style of fighting was kind of indicative, it was kind of reflective of the people, hardworking people, take some to give some. But, they're still standing at the end of the day. I think if people see that you're fighting, you're willing to, whether you win or lose is irrelevant. If you go out there, put yourself on it and give it your heart and soul, and for me, I always said the people of Youngstown carried me a lot farther than my body wanted to go, because I felt their strength work through me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds crazy. I think that
No, I believe.
you understand
I
it. You understand. Yeah. And I think that's important for the people to identify with somebody who's from the community. Say, that's our guy. That's our guy.
What's your program about? What's your foundation about?
So I decided to launch it because of the things that was happening with police killing people, and my cousins are actually cops, and I thought cops were getting a bad rep about that, because they were trying to say that, basically all cops are bad.
Right. No.
And so now what I wanted to do in my community, because when I was coming up, that's the same attitude I had, because that's what we're taught. We're taught that, living in Section 8 or you living in housing, public housing, everybody they're dealing drugs there. So the cops are the enemy to them. But then they tell us that when we're just innocent, but we just learn that because they're doing the wrong thing, but we just kids, and they letting us know early, or they're convincing us early that the police aren't our friends, that they're the biggest gang and stuff like that. And so I decided to launch that just to make, I wanted to bridge the gap between the two, so when I had my event, I had police officers working out with the kids. I had some officers that I actually was growing up with who actually arrested me and tried to keep me out of trouble, come there and speak. And they spoke words about me of how I was getting in trouble, but how I changed my life, and how they're proud of me. So a lot of the kids who were getting into the trouble, they come there. They come to the program. They come to do the workouts, and then they're closing a school in our community that was taking all the kids who were getting kicked out of school. They had actual school for them, or kids who got arrested in school or outside of school, and had a school for those kids, and they're closing it down. So now I just want to have something for those kids, for the police to push them through.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's this, because they got to have a place to go to. Gotta have a place to go.
Right.
That's awesome.
I think that's beautiful. They're trying to bridge that gap because it's necessary.
Yeah.
I understand. The cops get a bad rap, especially in black neighborhoods, and whether there's warranted or not, it's irrelevant. But I tell people, I'm a big advocate of civil servants, the policemen, the firemen, first responders, because thank God they're doing it. I ain't doing it.
Right.
You ain't doing it. Thank God they're doing it.
I'm not.
And if something happens, God forbid, first thing happens, I always tell people, you better rep the police, but God forbid something happens. Somebody breaks into your car. Somebody hurts your child. Who's the first person you're calling?
Every time.
And it just amazes me, man. We should be smart. Now, don't get me wrong, but again, I ain't out on the front lines. I ain't getting called 30 names. Or looked upon as the enemy every day, and seem to have a target on my head. So I'm a big advocate of civil servants, especially our police force, and that's great that you do that to show the kids that these guys are there to help. They got a job, they're doing a job, and part of that job is protecting the public. So that's a beautiful thing that you do that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hey, before we go, your nickname's The Gift.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
It came about. It came about when Judge White decided to give me a second chance.
he gave you a gift.
Um,
He gave you a gift.
yeah, it felt like it was a gift. And then when I started when I s- started boxing, I want to say I was maybe about 5 months, 6 months in, and I became the coach for the youth because I was 19, and I was coaching the youth. And at that time, my coach he still has his program. I was in his youth program, running the youth program, and I just felt like I had like when I would talk to these kids who was coming from probation or the juvenile system, I felt like I could relate to them, and when I spoke to them, they really understood what I was saying and tried their best to do better. And that's when I decided my name was going to be The Gift because I knew that I got a gift from Judge White, and now my gift was going to be to give back, and I was going to change everything in my community. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be,
Right.
but I started something just to create a conversation because we have people that complain about things every day, but they never put anything in motion to try to change it.
Right.
So
Right. Right. That's a beautiful thing. I always tell people there's three things in life. Three things. You're moving forward, you're moving back, or you're standing still. 2 to 3 ain't good.
yeah.
2 to 3 ain't good. You got to be progressing, not regressing. So,
Right.
Chordale, I admire you, man. I admire you. I'm more of a fan, not only of your fighting, but more of a person, as a person. And to me, and I mean,
Coming from the legend.
in my own mind, but thank you, thank you. And I can't wait to have you back on the card again, man. I can't wait to see you fight again. I'm a
Me
done.
too. I want you to call all my fights. You and Tony, man, y'all
Oh,
together.
Tony,
Something good.
yeah, I appreciate that. Tony was a good brother, man. And hey, that might be a guy in the future you'll be fighting.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
that fight he's got to have, with Mel.
You want to tell him your goal. You wanted to win a couple of titles, a couple different weight classes, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. So you was there when I told Tony. I said, "Man, Tony, it's a pleasure to meet you, but you got something I want."
Yes,
I love
exactly.
it. I love it.
But you got Jamel and Tony, and that fight's got to happen, man. That fight's got to happen soon. It's unfortunate Tony got hurt, and then you're not that far off from getting that shot. You're not far off.
Yeah.
So. I'm gonna tell them guys at Fox, I'm gonna tell the guys at the PBC that hey man, when are we gonna see Chordale again? And I just asked, when are we gonna see him? So, because that's the thing, fighters got to fight, and you made a big splash.
Absolutely.
And that was at the end of May. So I'd like to see you come back soon.
Absolutely.
And but Chordale, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be with us. I can't take your time.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, and believe me, your story is an inspirational one. It's one that got to be told, and that's what we're trying to do here. Give a platform for people like yourself to tell your stories, man. People need to hear it. People need to hear it. You never know who's gonna hear it and say, "Hey, if he could do that, what he did was I could change my life in a positive way." You never know who's going to hear it, and that's what we're trying to do. It's just make a positive impact on people's lives. And you certainly have on many in your community, and anybody who listened today, and I'm sure they'll agree that you made an impact on their lives. So
thank you. I really appreciate it.
My
man.
pleasure.
I thank you guys for having me on the show.
Been a pleasure. My pleasure.
You didn't have to.
No, my pleasure. And we're gonna get you back if it's possible down the road. I'll get you back on maybe before your next fight. We'll get you back on because
that'd be great.
You got a good story to tell, my friend. So thank you so much, Chordale. I appreciate it very much.
Good
Take
job.
care and God
Thank you.
bless. Take care and God bless.
I know your nickname's
God
The
bless.
Gift, but man, you have a gift.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take
All
care.
right, take care.
Appreciate that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
That was awesome.
That was one of the best interviews we had.
That was
Honest
awesome.
to God. It's one of the best. And
he was honest and
Yeah.
talked about his career a little bit, talked about his life a little bit, talked about his boxing a little bit.
Yeah, man.
I loved it.
Oh, I gotta get that
Absolutely loved it.
off.
So,
My ears are throbbing.
There we go.
They're tight. They're things like that.
That
But
was
that
cool.
was like.
I hope you follow him. He's on Instagram. I hope people follow his career.
What is this? Chordale The Gift Booker? What is
It's I forget.
The gift
The gift
_7.
and then an underscore and then number 7.
The
He's on
Gift
Instagram.
underscore and then.
And
the
all you
number
gotta do is
7.
Google the guy. It's CHORDALE Booker, and Google him, and his website pops right up.
Chordale Booker, man. He's just a nice guy. When I remember when we met him at the fighters meetings, he got emotional talking about it. He got emotional after the fight when he interviewed. We got emotional, and I said, "That's a real guy, man, because anybody can express their feelings. You know, he didn't try to hold back. Got emotional."
Well, I wish you would have made him cry. That's good for ratings. You get guys crying on here, and then you got people watching. What? Oprah does it. Dr. Phil does it.
Dr. Phil does it. Yeah. Dr. Phil.
Barbara Walters does
Yeah.
it.
And Maury Povich. But who does it? But what was the guy who did that? Was one big? He had people cry too. The guy from Ohio who was trying to run for.
Phil Donahue.
No, the guy from what was the name of that show? The guy did. Yeah, it was like throwing fights every time, and they brought in hookers and this.
On the hot seat. Morty.
No, not Maury Povich.
No, the other guy. There was
Yeah,
like somebody named Mort back in the day.
No,
and they were
yeah,
getting,
but-
you're thinking of Jerry Springer from Cincinnati.
Jerry Springer. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of.
But this was
Jerry
before all
Springer
that.
show. That was, it ain't that.
No,
It ain't that.
could be
But more Stahl.
every once in a while.
Mort Stahl
Yeah.
had that show.
All right, I'm done. You
That's
good?
it. We're done. That's
Yeah.
it. Okay.
We got a
Well,
couple months
hey,
left in the golf
Anybody
season.
we have to promote? Any
No,
of our
anyone,
sponsors?
if there's a couple months
Spons-
left in the golf season, people want to come up. They
Yeah.
have still have great
Coming
deals.
to Avalon where we shoot the show.
The pool and Roman Bath are going to be open
Roman
before you
Bath.
know it.
And the honeymoon suite.
Always open. And the
Honeymoon
spa suite, the
suite.
grand spa
The
suite.
spa suite, man. Come
You
on.
haven't seen that yet, have you?
I haven't seen a spa suite.
Oh, it's got massage tables in the room.
Oh, there you go.
You just lay down there, and we
but-
bring the gang
but,
in
yeah,
and
we gotta
work
bring
out
in-
all the kinks.
It's
Is that a good way of saying
on the
it?
massage table. Work out the
Two.
kinks.
Two. It's amazing.
We're turning a little bit left.
No.
We're taking a little bit of that left
Talking
turn.
about
Then we got to
massages.
stay
What I was
back and stay
talking
on the
about.
straight.
All right.
But, well, I guess, look, until next week, we're going to, how's it looking next week? We're doing a show, right?
Oh no, we have a medium, a psychic medium coming in.
Oh, we do? Do we?
Yeah, she can talk to the people
bad
that
boy,
have passed.
Bad boy.
Your
What
your
you gonna
your
do?
dad may make
What you
an
gonna-
appearance.
You know what? I do believe people who have the gift. I do believe
You're
there's
gonna
certain
see.
people.
You're gonna
gift.
see.
What's the woman's name? She was always on the shows and
There's the Long Island medium.
Long
There's
Island
Miss
medium.
Chloe.
no,
Remember
there was
her?
one. There was an older woman.
Miss Cleo. Yeah, I got
there
Miss
was an
Cleo.
older woman. She was an older woman. She had a gravelly voice, but but she felt her gift was faith. Was coming from God. She was faith based, and she was incredible, man. Anyhow,
Well, we're gonna have her next week. We're gonna have a lady
so
named Vicky.
I'm looking for Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Vicky from?
Cleveland area.
Vicky.
She's done events here, and
Vicky's from the
she
south. Vicky's from the south side.
of Cleveland.
From the south side, yeah.
Yeah,
South
the
side,
east
Cleveland.
side. She's like the
south
Beachwood
side,
area.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
She's from the south side. Yeah, I say she. No, I'm joking.
It's gonna be fun.
I'm looking forward. I can't wait because I know this. I do.
She
believe,
might get a message from somebody and to
get-
give to you. She might.
Oh,
Why
my
are you?
God,
What's
kill-
funny about that?
Yeah.
What if you're the one crying next
No.
week? What if she pulls something from your youth that there's no reason anybody would know?
Look,
What if it's
I'm
you?
looking for it because look, one thing we do, we think outside the box, and I'm looking forward to meeting this woman. I believe they're mediums. I'm not knocking them. I believe there are people who have that gift, and so I look forward to meeting her
Mm-hmm.
and hear what she has to say. Well, maybe give her a little test.
Yeah, no, we could test her.
Throw
She's
her
probably
bone-
going to test
throw,
us.
Throw a bone out there, see if she.
What
knows
if she comes up with something though that blows your mind?
Then I'll say you are the real deal. I'm not saying she ain't. She's the real deal. Don't get me wrong.
Well,
I'm
you don't
just
know.
saying. But
There's
people are
debunkers
skeptics.
out there.
But I do believe, I believe in the gift of yeah. I believe in people who have the gift to everyone. God gives gifts to many people, and I'm sure she's one of them.
We're going to find out.
We'll find that out.
We're going to find out. It's supposed to be
But,
great.
Anyhow, I hope you'll tune next time at around the same time for Ray's Boom Boom Room. Until then, I'm your. Till then, Mike. I see Mike with the hand ready to go.
No, I didn't do it.
I'm ready.
I'm
to
holding them together. I know better. Don't blame it on
Until
me
then,
when
no,
you mess
no,
up.
no, no, no. I know what you're waiting for. Until then, take care of each other, love each other. Good night, and God bless.